Hello, everyone. Welcome to Todd Talks. Today we are talking about Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and the subclasses therein. And today we're talking about the Monk Way of Mercy. It's one of my favorite monks. And I am joined by James Haeck. James Haeck is the lead writer at D&D Beyond. He's done lots of work on lots of D&D books and also DM's Guild products. And we're just going to break down a very unique monk that almost has a Western flavor in some ways, and kind of a clerical flavor as well.
A lot of people have talked about the fantastic artwork that has come with this class, the Plague Doctor mask that adorns the Way of Mercy. And this sort of feel of giving life and taking it in equal measure that mask represents is very, very much at the core of what this class does. The Way of Mercy is a monastic tradition that helps monks learn to manipulate the life force of others. It brings aid to those in need, and it brings a swift end to those who are opposing them.
Those who need so much need.
those who cause need in others. Members of the Way of Mercy, they might be religious order, they might be healers, but they might otherwise be something like a mercy killer almost, right? They are those who put a swift end to evil or suffering or what have you.
It's almost like this strange combat medic. This seems like there's something very anime about it as well. I know, like I see this, and maybe it's because of the actual art that you see in Tasha's. I see this monk, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, healing the poor, punishing the wicked at the same time. All the while, it may be a plague-infested city with rats and all that kind of, like, it feels very evocative right out of the gate. At third level, you have the Implements of Mercy. So let's just dive into this. You have proficiency with Insight, so you're very aware, almost on like a Sherlock Holmes level. You have medicine skills as well, and you're proficient in the Herbalism kit. So you are, in many ways, the most doctor-y doctor in D&D without being a cleric. I mean, this is kind of like the doctor subclass. On top of this, your order, you can decide what kind of mask you typically wear. It could be a raven, black and white, crying visage, laughing visage, skull, butterfly. Honestly, your DM is probably going to let you choose anything you want to, but you can roll on this table to determine that. Ooh, a monk that just always has a mask on is so creepy to me. I love it. There's a little bit of Batman in there, a little bit of the Court of Owls.
It makes me think of Bloodborne in a big way. It has that gothic, almost Ravenlofty feel.
Bloodborne, very strong. Dishonored, even, I would say. Again, so all those kind of come to mind when I think of this monk. Third level, we get a couple of things at third level. So tell me about the Hand of Healing.
One hand giveth, the other taketh away. The Hand of Healing gives you a mystical touch that can mend wounds. As an action, you can spend key points to restore hit points, almost as if you were attacking a creature, but in reverse. And in fact, when you use your Flurry of Blows, you can replace one of those unarmed strikes with a use of this feature without spending any extra key. So a great way to balance your damage dealing powers with healing as well. And the Hand of Harm. You can use your key to inflict wounds. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can spend a key point to deal extra necrotic damage equal to essentially another attack. You can only use this feature once per turn. I very much like the idea of a monk who, say, wears something like a black glove or a white glove, or a purple glove and a golden glove, and deals exclusively death with one hand and exclusively healing with the other. That fits that sort of heightened, almost Batman-like aesthetic you're talking about here.
I feel like someone was playing Zenyatta in Overwatch as you throw that glowing orb and the different orbs for damage and such and buffing people.
It's tapped into that same zeitgeist.
I love the idea that maybe you have a poisonous touch or that necrotic touch, or maybe you just know the right pressure point to hit your enemy to cause them the most damage because you are a physician. And then on top of that, to be fighting next to your friend and suddenly like you see their shoulder is dislocated and you just pop it back into place for them during the battle is it can be, there's a lot of storytelling that can happen with this monk in particular. I think monks are always inherently like, I've never met a monk player that doesn't want to tell you exactly how they do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. These are kind of workaday abilities that are like, do extra damage, do healing instead. And in the sort of long drawn out combats, you might get to a point where it's like, I don't really care about describing my fights anymore. I just want to damage, healing. But it's always very fun, especially when your fights are snappy and evocative, to really get the imagery of what you're doing in place.
Yeah. I mean, this is already very strong. I feel like you're again, this is all about helping your party as well. So you have that option. We're seeing this again and again in a lot of subclasses in Tashas.
Teamwork focus, yeah.
Teamwork focused. And as again, Jeremy Crawford talked about, like the talisman that warlocks have. It's kind of like helpful curious, right? So tell me about Physician's Touch.
Physician's Touch, 6th level. You can administer even greater cures with a touch, and if you feel it's necessary, you can use your knowledge to cause harm. When you use your Hand of Healing on a creature, you can end one disease or the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, or quite interestingly, stunned condition here. So it's almost like casting Lesser Restoration, but the addition of stunned and paralyzed here is kind of a huge deal, because spells like Hold Person or an enemy monk using Stunning Strike can really shut a player down in a not very fun way. I recently had an encounter with some Sioux monsters from Tomb of Annihilation in one of my parties, and the armor artificer in that group just got stun locked, and it was not fun for them at all. But had we had a character like this in play, being able to just cure that paralysis would have been a huge deal.
And also are a huge deal in D&D.
They're a huge deal, and I think they're sometimes underappreciated.
Yeah.
And finally, when you use your Hand of Harm on a creature, you can choose to poison them as well. And there's no resource being spent here other than the key needed to cast the spell or to use the feature. So this is just a nice little straight upgrade to those features you got at 3rd level.
Yeah, and so now I'm pretty sure that almost everything that is resistant to poison damage isn't necessarily immune to the poison condition. Certainly there are a lot of monsters that are immune to it, but still, a poison creature has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's
you're not getting all, I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna face some things that this doesn't affect, but boy, if you're in a street fight, you just ruin this person's day. And that brings us to the Flurry of Healing and Harm. You get this at 11th level. You can now mete out a Flurry of Comfort and Hurt. When you use Flurry of Blows, you can now replace each of your unarmed strikes with using your Hand of Healing without spending key points for that healing. So less resource management by lot. In addition, when you make an unarmed strike using Flurry of Blows, you can use your Hand of Harm. And with that strike, without spending any key points for the Hand of Harm as well. You can still use the Hand of Harm only once per turn, though. But all of a sudden, you're not spending the key points on this stuff.
This is a really interesting feature, because you'll notice as this class goes on, so far, basically all of the features have been improving those initial 2 Hand of Healing, Hand of Harm features. And in any other class's repertoire, I would say maybe they're getting a little too focused here. They haven't quite spread the breadth of their abilities enough. But for the monk, whose class features already are so broad, everything from slow fall to perfect body to blah, 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 all this stuff, they don't need that broad swath anymore. It's perfectly fine to drill down deep into one evocative thing, and they've done that here.
I totally agree, and monks are about being specific. Whereas the fighter, that makes a lot of sense to have, like, I can do a little bit of this, I can do a little bit of that. The monk already has so much other stuff going on. You're completely accurate. That brings us to Hand of Ultimate Mercy.
Yeah. However, this is a very broad ability.
However, let's break the mold completely in D&D. Yes. So, Resurrection, typically for clerics and druids, right? You get Artificer can get a lot of people can get Revivify, some people can get Raise Dead, but wow, at 17th level,
as an action,
Hand of Ultimate Mercy.
You can touch the corpse of a creature that died within the past 24 hours and spend 5 key points. 24 hours, very much like Raise Dead, a 5th level spell.
Yep.
The creature then returns to life, regaining a number of hit points equal to 4d10 plus your wisdom modifier. And it revives with conditions removed: blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, and stunned. You can do this once per long rest. No material component cost. No nothing.
No diamonds.
And frankly, the key cost is quite low. 5 key points is not much at all when it comes to a 17th level monk. This makes total sense. Not just because a healer monk should have the ability to raise people from the dead, but also because once you're 17th level, if you're just sort of a secondary healer in your party, right? If you've got a cleric with you, they're learning spells like resurrection, true resurrection by the 9th level resurrection spells. You're kind of like a secondary healer in case someone gets one shot out of the blue. You know, in case a Tarrasque stomps on your fighter and they take 400 damage. You're like, quick, get to them. And your cleric's a mile away or something, because high level adventures are absolutely off the walls.
And you as a monk, you have to remember, you're such a combat medic in this regard. What if your party member got knocked off the side of a cliff and died from falling damage? So they're on their death saves, but they're dead. They're done.
Yeah,
they're out of the situation. You can just slow fall down to them,
yes,
and raise them back up. Like I mean, what if you got in some other way you got removed from another party member? They're over there, they get killed, they're far away. You're a monk. You're the fastest person and the most adept at getting to another party member. You're probably maybe the best guy to be resurrecting people on the battlefield, because you can also be smacking people on the way. So I love this. I love it's so unexpected, and it's such a perfect capstone to again, this is my favorite monk now. I think it's the perfect capstone to all of this that we've been building. I'm a physician, and I also like the idea after 24 hours you're just like, touch a corpse and it's back. Whether it's mystical, right? Or maybe you just like punch it and you're like, wake up.
I love the idea of this being completely unceremonious. You know, clerics are lighting incense and spreading gem dust, and you're just like, get out, walk it off, soldier.
Keep point. Slap. You're awake.
You're
back in the game. It's like, was I dead? Totally.
What can I say? This is a monk that really drills into its specific class fantasy and delivers on it very well. I think this is going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people.
I totally agree. And
maybe for a specific set of people. Maybe you have to be in the right mindset to play this monk, but it's going to be very fun in its niche.
Well, and I'm just in that mindset. Like I as a player, I have trouble not being able to have the ability to revivify or raise dead or cast something like Warding Bond. I don't know why. I feel like that's something I'm very attached to, though I don't like playing clerics. This kind of like itches that scratches that itch for me. So thank you so much for watching. This was our Todd Talks on the Way of Mercy Monk that you can find Tasha's Cauldron of Everything that is available right now on D&D Beyond. And if you order now, you can actually get some extra perks, pre-order perks that will be available till about January 5th, including some dice and some other cool things that are exclusive to D&D Beyond. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, James Haeck, our lead writer over at D&D Beyond, and have a great day.
Till next time.
Bye.
Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is available now on D&D Beyond. Purchase before January 5th to unlock the Cauldron dice set, as well as character sheet backdrops, themes and frames.